Welcome back to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Mark Ramone, joined today by Mark Sherry and our very special guest, Andy Cass from Sleeper Cave Records. You just heard Karlo Rueby with Good Time Man. Before that, Cousin Moon with Entropy. And we started off with Dharma Bird, Louisiana. Let's go down south. Ah, yes, I love going to Louisiana. Although I really don't know much about Louisiana other than New Orleans. But Dharma Bird, I have one word for this. I just kept popping up in my head was authentic. It just felt genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really fun song. All the instrumentation on this song, everything is just, all the musicians are excellent. Western Mass Louisiana song, huh?
Out of Northampton, Mass. Yeah, good rhythm and bluegrass.
So, Andy, can you tell us anything about the recording session for this song? Was anything you'd like to mention?
This was the first recording I ever did, like after I had left college, for like friends of mine who were paying me to record. I ended up borrowing a bunch of microphones from Telefunken, and I didn't have a good recording space at the time, so we ended up tracking that entire album in Lynn Bertrand's house up in just past Florence. Yeah, in her living room. I had like a small mobile rig in my laptop back then, and like I built a studio very briefly for the day.
Was this pre-Sleeper Cave?
It was, yeah. It was. I was still living at my mom's house at that point, and like I think I mixed most of this record in my mom's basement, which was my first rig when I got home from college.
The EP came out in 2014, I believe.
I think I was still at home around then, or like because I was working on it in 2013 and didn't come out until after I'd moved, I believe. But I definitely remember I was in my mom's basement working on it.
So how did you wind up in Lynn Bertrand's living room?
That's a great question. I don't know. we didn't have a space, and they knew Lynn, and Lynn's a wonderful human being who offered up her living room for a recording session for an afternoon.
That's a great story. That's a great story. So after that, we heard Cousin Moon doing Entropy, and I know you know Cousin Moon very well, right, Andy?
Yeah, that Cousin Moon was ostensibly my band. I was in Cousin Moon. It started as a band called Pale Cowboy, which was my senior year of college. They're my project band, and I worked on an EP with them that is not on Spotify. It's on Bandcamp. By the time we finished, they were like, "Well, you can play bass with us," and so I joined up with them on bass, and kind of bass and their recording engineer, because they're very ambitious musicians and wanted to make this really big record. And it's easier to make a big record when you're broke and you have an engineer in the band who's willing to make a big record with you. Yeah, that record took us about 3.5 years to finish. It's 17 songs.
Wow.
It started as 29 songs, I think.
And you were based in the sort of Northampton general area?
Yeah, so that was started at an old farmhouse up in Cushman. That's where we recorded most of this song. A lot of this song is like very early takes. This one, I chose to highlight this one because of all the songs we did that like got crazy. This one is the closest to the like initial recording that most of the songs of the record are, because the drums I think are the first take that Karl did, first or second take. I had just gotten a tape delay unit, and that's why it's all over this track, because we were super excited about having a real tape delay to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have a new toy, you like put it on everything. It's great always.
Yeah, well, I think Cousin Moon, especially this song, you got that sort of dreamy sound really down. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the goal.
Reminded me of the late Beatles.
Yeah, I know that they like that kind of stuff a lot, like a lot of 60s style production across that record. We used the late Beatles and some of the solo Beatles work, and the Kinks and the Beach Boys, like their Pet Sounds era. Those were kind of our guiding light posts as we were making this record.
And so the next song was it's done by Karlo Rueby, who that's the name that Carl Hallander goes by, who's part of Cousin Moon as well. And this was Good Time Man, his tune. I imagine that there's a lot of you playing on this one too. Another really dreamy song. Carl's voice, I think, is just perfect for the mood of the song.
Experience in Sun Parade, Karina and Ruby Lou.
Yeah. So Carl kind of bounces around. And he wrote and sang Entropy. That's also his song. At least most of the instruments are Carl. I don't think I played on it, and I don't think anyone else in the crew played on that one. He recorded a lot of that on like a little cassette deck, and I mixed a lot of it at my studio. And also, there's a really great moment in that song where he was in my studio late at night. He had slept over, and he was recording to his little cassette deck. And it was in winter when he recorded it. There's a line in the song where he says waves on, I think he says waves on the ocean, and there's like a sound behind him. And what happened was, as he was singing the song, if you go back and listen to it, you could hear that like that wave sound. As he was singing the song, a piece of snow like shifted on the roof right after he said that line. It sounds like waves. He didn't add that in. It feels like, yeah, an amazing accident.
Now, did I hear some birds in that song in the background?
You very well may have. I'm sure he adds some at the end.
So for our next block, we're going to start out with a song by Elliott Lee Friessen, Portraits Line the Walls.